Good morning. I just wanted to come on here and give you guys a little bit of an update. So many of you, and thank you, by the way, so many of you have been asking about my family. I had done a life update, God, last year, I don't know, August or September, talking about my dad's health, my brother's health, and my dad was diagnosed with leukemia last August, and he was going to be starting treatment in September. And I just wanted to let you guys know that he passed away this past Sunday. And it had been a really rocky past few months. I would say starting in November. My dad was in and out of the hospital for, a multitude of different reasons. He would have like debilitating headaches. He wouldn't be able to keep food down. And I think, it's hard to tell because my father had diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and I think the chemo treatments that he started to undergo just kind of tore him down a little bit too much. And so he was just in and out of the hospital, for blood transfusions and, again, just a multitude of different reasons. It was almost like a different reason every single time he went in. And so finally, about a couple, losing track of time. So he passed away this past Sunday. The Sunday before, we had decided to bring him home from the hospital under hospice care. And of course, that was a really tough decision. It's like you know what's going to happen. And so all you're trying to do is make him comfortable. And all he wanted at that point was to be home in his bed, and eating, eating not hospital food, basically. I think he would have taken anything else at that point. So we made the tough decision to do that. And he was actually, conscious enough and cognizant enough to tell us that that's what he wanted as well. And it was a little hard for me to accept that day. I just kept saying, Dad, are you sure you understand what this means? Are you sure? Throughout this entire process, just like COVID has been, I don't know how else to put this, but it's just such a pain in the ass because they weren't allowing more than one visitor a day. So it wasn't even like my mom could go in, then I could go in, then my mom could go in. It wasn't like just one at a time. It was one a day. And so, of course, my mom wanted to be there. And so she was the one visitor a day. And I thought, okay, well, I'll just let me know what happens. I'll see Dad once he's home or whatever, because his hospital stays at that point were like, 5-6 days long. And it was tough. My parents are immigrants and, their English is fine, but when it comes to medical terminology and when they're stressed out, and my father was so ill, it was like I was getting like half of the information that I needed. So when my mother asked me to come down to the hospital, the doctor got us like a special pass that both of us could be there at the same time because she was considering hospice care. I was a little bit caught off guard. I didn't realize how far along it had been, or how far along it had gotten regarding my dad's health. So anyway, I just wanted to, update you guys. And I just have to let you know, last week, sorry, losing track of time again. So, okay, Sunday. So last week through Sunday on Instagram, I got a bunch of DMs from a bunch of you, basically just checking in on me. And I thought, wow, this is so weird. This is so weird. I thought either the timing is just, coincidental and it's just uncanny, or I'm not really hiding it that well while I'm filming my videos. I was, and I am trying to just keep up with my work. It's been an amazing distraction regarding everything, but it has been hard. It has been hard to kind of like juggle everything and keep up with filming and everything. But, you know, it's something that my dad would say every time I went to visit him in the hospital. You know, we'd say our hellos, how are you doing? And he would say, well, you know, go home, you know, don't you have work to do? And, you know, he would tell me he was so proud of me. And he was the first one when I got my 100,000 subscriber plaque from YouTube. He was like the first one to be like, can I see it? I think he was more excited than I was. So he was, and it was so nice to hear that, you know. Oops, sorry, my battery, my battery died. I had to change out the battery. What was I saying? Oh, it was nice to hear that he was proud of me. You know, even at the age of 47, it's nice to hear your parents are proud of you and what you've done. And he was always just interested in what I was doing, and I have to give it to my parents. You know, being immigrants from China, there is this, you know, certain expectation for your children a lot of the time. And I know there's a lot of jokes about it, you know, how they just want you to be a doctor, a lawyer, a businessman, whatever that means, a businessman. And I had never, ever really wanted to go down that path. And, you know, as much as my dad wanted to make sure I was secure in my life or whatever, he was always very supportive in all of the other stuff that I did. And he was, you know, really proud that I was a hand knitwear designer. He was like, oh, it's so interesting. It's so interesting. Anyway, so, you know, every time I went to visit him in the hospital, he was like, well, go, you know, go. You have so much work to do. You're so busy. And I said, well, Dad, Dad, I want to make sure you're okay or whatever. He's like, I'm fine, you know, just, you know, I'm here in the hospital, I'm fine. So he was always trying to make sure that I felt okay, and I could tell he would try and, like, you know, put on basically a good front for me while he was in the hospital, and even while he was home under hospice care. So, you know, he was only home for a week under hospice care, and it was really, I could not, I mean, it's a terrible situation. It's awful to have to say goodbye to a parent, but it was the best scenario. This whole, you know, past few years have been incredible, because I moved to Las Vegas. My parents were living here. I moved here about 4 years ago, and was not planned, had never thought to move to Las Vegas. And even moving here, my parents weren't really part of the equation. You know, it was nice that they were here, but I'd always been fairly independent from them. So anyway, it was just great to have been here the past 4 years. I met them for lunch, you know, every week, and you know, being able to help my mom out during this time, and just spending that little extra time, because they had been living in Las Vegas, and before that they were living in California. I was in New York City, so, you know, I couldn't see them more than a couple times a year. So it was just really, it was really special being able to spend so much more time with them these past few years, not even knowing that this was impending, because my dad's health had always been pretty good. He was a really active guy. He was skinny. You know, he had diabetes to deal with, but he had been dealing with that for a long time. So anyway, what I did want to say was, you know, thinking back on all of this, the one thing, if I can pass on anything to you guys, is, you know, just live your life with no regrets. So if there's ever anything that you want to say to a loved one, or you want to do for a loved one, just do it. Just do it. Just say it. I'm sure anyone that's experienced any loss, and wow, this past year really has been a year of loss. You just don't want to have any regrets, anything outstanding. And I just feel so lucky that I, again, was able to spend the time with them. But even just the last week of having my dad at home and just telling him that I love him and just thanking him for everything he has done for me and the family. And he was a great dad. He was a really great dad. You know how there's, well, I don't know. I feel like generally there's always kind of like one parent that you're more like, either, I don't know, personality wise or the way you look or something, or you just kind of take after them a little bit more. That was me and my dad. I got his cheekbones. He's the one that passed down his cheekbones to me. My hair is gray the way his is, just kind of peppered in, which I feel lucky about. I even got to thank him because in high school, I'll never forget this, I was taking calculus, and I was always pretty good at math. I like math. It always made sense to me. But calculus is quite different, and I just, you know, I was memorizing things, but I just felt like, God, if I understood what this was all about, it would make more sense. And my dad was really, really good at math. He had 2 masters. I know one was in statistics, which was not my thing. But anyway, he was like a numbers guy. He was really good at math. And so I asked him, I was like, Dad, can you explain calculus to me? And he took out one of those slide rules with the thing. I was like, Dad, I'm like, I don't even know what that thing is. He was like, what? He was like, this is before calculators. This is how we like figured stuff out. So he explained to me the side rule, which I don't remember. But he actually explained to me what calculus was, like the concept of it. And from that moment on, I aced calculus. I got a 4.0 in high school and I got a 4.0 in college. And that actually, what is it like? I basically like tested out of math for the rest of college. So I was really grateful for him for that. So I remember that instance, and I was thanking him for that. And so anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know, since I had mentioned, you know, last year his diagnosis, and so many of you, thank you again, just so many of you have been checking up and just, you know, mentioning like, hope your dad is okay. My brother's okay, by the way. He's toughing it out, but I wanted to give you this update on my dad and just let you know. And if I really thought I was kind of like masking it pretty well in my videos, but from the number of DMs that I got from you guys, so thank you guys for reaching out and checking on me and you know, checking up on my dad. I really appreciate it. And you know, I'm gonna keep working. That's definitely something my dad instilled in me. He always, you know, I don't know if he said it was more by example, but he would, you know, kind of allude to the fact that, you know, as a child of an immigrant being a minority in this country, he was like, you're gonna have to work twice as hard to get the same things. And he never let up on that. Always. Where it was like, the harder I worked, the better. So anyway, my point in telling you all that is that I am gonna, you know, continue putting videos out for you guys. I think, you know, grieving is a long process. It's not something I'm just gonna, you know, take a week off from YouTube and be sad and do my thing. It doesn't work that way anyway. So I'm just gonna keep doing what I can. And it has been it's just really been such a great distraction from everything. You know, as soon as I turn the camera on and I can talk about makeup and not think about life for a little while, it has been, and I've mentioned this because of everything that's been going on this past year, it has been great. It's been amazing to be able to do that. And I just want to thank you guys for giving me this space, and for creating this like community, this family that we have. Again, I'm just so touched that so many of you reached out. So anyway, I just wanted to hop on and say all of that very ineloquently, but there you have it. And I'll see you guys really soon.